It's a Tuesday afternoon. Nothing is wrong. The sun is out, the coffee is hot, and somewhere a cable news anchor is saying the word unprecedented for the fourth time this week. Then your phone buzzes. A storm, a strike, a cyber incident, a recall. Pick your flavor. By 6 p.m., the parking lot at the grocery store looks like the last helicopter out of Saigon. By 8 p.m., the rice shelf is bare. By 10 p.m., the pasta aisle looks like a crime scene. And somewhere in that crowd is a fellow in a tactical vest who spent $2,000 on freeze-dried buckets and is now fighting a retired school teacher over the last bag of jasmine rice because his buckets are in a storage unit across town. I made this video so you are not that man. And so you are not the school teacher either. Today, we're breaking down 11 foods that stay on the shelf when everything else walks out the door, and why the people who know about them don't talk about them. Here's the problem with most prepper advice. Everybody reads the same blogs. Everybody watches the same channels. Everybody buys the same 20-pound bag of white rice and the same case of canned beans. So, when the trucks stop rolling, everybody is fighting over the same 6 items. The math is simple. If your pantry looks exactly like your neighbor's pantry, you do not have a pantry. You have a lottery ticket. The foods I'm about to show you were still sitting on shelves the day after the 2020 panic buying. Not because they're bad, because nobody thought to look. Number 1. Whole wheat berries. Not flour. Flour goes rancid in under a year because the oils in the germ start to break down the moment you mill it. Whole wheat berries, sealed in a food-grade bucket with an oxygen absorber, will last 30 years. Some labs say longer. A hand-crank grain mill runs about $60. One time, forever. When the power's out and the bakery is closed, you produce fresh flour on your kitchen counter like it's 1885. 100 pounds of wheat berries costs about $60 and feeds one adult for close to a year on the calorie count alone. Your grandfather knew this. Your grandfather also knew how to fix a carburetor, so maybe we should listen to him. Number 2. Ghee. Clarified butter with the milk solids cooked out. I have a jar on my shelf that's 4 years old, no refrigeration, still perfect. Archaeologists have dug up sealed ghee in India that was thousands of years old and still chemically intact. That is not a prepper myth. That is a museum. Last summer, a 2-week outage turned my neighbor's butter into yellow soup and his coconut oil into something that smelled like a gym bag. My ghee sat on the counter at 95 degrees and did not flinch. Fat is not optional in a crisis. Your brain runs on it, your body stores warmth with it, and half the vitamins you eat cannot be absorbed without it. A jar of ghee costs about $15 and outlives most marriages. Number 3. Full-fat canned coconut milk. Not the stuff in the carton next to the almond milk. The thick kind in the can in the international aisle. One can delivers 50 grams of healthy fat, keeps for about 5 years, and costs $2. On day 4 of eating rice and beans, a can of coconut milk stirred into that pot is the difference between a meal your family eats and a meal your family stares at until somebody cries. Nobody fights over this aisle. Ever. I keep 50 cans rotated by date, and I sleep very well. Number 4. Bouillon cubes. I know. Stay with me. A distribution manager I trust told me bouillon cubes had 0 supply issues in 2020. 0. While people were wrestling over toilet paper, 1,000 cubes sat on the shelf minding their own business. 1 cube equals 2 cups of broth, stores for years and weighs nothing. Here's what you need to understand. The first thing that breaks in a long emergency is not your body. It's your morale. Rice with salt on day 12 will make a grown man weep. Rice with a bouillon cube stirred in tastes like a meal. 500 cubes runs about $30. Compare that to freeze-dried pouches at $15 a pop and tell me who's being clever. Number 5. Textured vegetable protein. Dehydrated soy in little dry chunks that look like nothing and weigh nothing. Pour hot water or broth over it, wait 10 minutes, and you have something with the texture of ground beef. 1 dry pound rehydrates into roughly 3 pounds of meat-like protein. Sealed properly, it keeps 10 to 15 years. $6 a bag. Call it whatever you want. Cowboy chili, stroganoff, taco night. Your family will not know the difference on day 15, and on day 15, that matters. Number 6. Nutritional yeast. Yes, it sounds like health food store nonsense. It is also packed with complete protein and B vitamins, including B12, which almost every long-term food stash is dangerously short on. B12 deficiency will slowly scramble your brain, and nobody will connect the dots until it's too late. 2 tablespoons give you 8 grams of complete protein and a week's worth of B vitamins. It tastes like cheese. Sprinkle it on rice, on potatoes, on whatever, and day 10 starts to feel like day 1. 2 pounds costs about $40, and nobody is panic buying it. Ever. Number 7. Dried seaweed. Nori, wakame, dulce. Japanese researchers found intact dried seaweed in 1,000-year-old storage jars with the nutrition still measurable. 1,000 years. 1 sheet of nori contains more iodine than most Americans eat in a week. And iodine runs your thyroid, which runs your metabolism, your temperature regulation, your energy, and about a dozen other things you take for granted until they stop. Here's the scary part with the solution attached, because I promised you that. Standard prepper food, rice, beans, wheat, canned meat, contains almost 0 iodine. Eat that for 6 months and you start falling apart, and you will not know why. Fix. $3 worth of dried seaweed at your local Asian market. Crumble 1 sheet into a pot of rice and you've handled it. No excuses. Number 8. Chia seeds. The Aztec runners carried these as currency because a handful kept a man moving for a day. Chia absorbs up to 12 times its weight in water and forms a gel in your stomach that slows digestion to a crawl, meaning you feel full for hours instead of minutes. I tested it. Rice and beans for breakfast. Hungry in 3 hours. Same meal with a spoonful of chia added 7 hours before I thought about food again. Complete protein. All 9 essential amino acids. Stores 5 years in a sealed jar. $60 for 11 pounds. That's a long time of not being hungry for the price of 1 tactical flashlight you'll never use. Number 9. Real Asian instant noodles. Not the 25-cent college ramen. The real blocks from the Asian grocery, sometimes with egg, sometimes with 10 grams of actual protein per serving, with seasoning packets that contain real dehydrated vegetables and spices you cannot pronounce. Here's what the gear list crowd doesn't tell you. Meal monotony during a long emergency causes something called decision fatigue, which in plain English means your brain gets dull and you start making bad choices at exactly the moment you cannot afford to. A hot bowl of noodles on day 10 resets your head. And here's the quiet secret. During the 2020 panic, Asian grocery stores were almost fully stocked, while the big chains were strip-mined. Nobody thought to drive across town. You will. Number 10. Potato starch. Not instant flakes. Not mashed potato mix. The actual white starch in a bag, usually covered in dust on the bottom shelf of a small market. Keeps 10 years in a sealed container. Naturally gluten-free, which matters because gluten-free options vanish first in any supply disruption. 1 tablespoon thickens a soup that would need 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Mix it with water and salt, and you can make a flatbread on a camp stove in 5 minutes. 4 pounds costs about $8. Nobody panic buys this, ever. Number 11. Vacuum-sealed powdered milk. Classic, but most people store it wrong. They leave it in the cardboard box it came in, and the cardboard lets in air and moisture, and the milk goes off in 2 years. Fix. Buy in bulk, transfer immediately into Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, seal. Done that way, powdered milk keeps 15 to 20 years. Calcium, protein, vitamin D, coffee, baking, reconstituted for drinking. $15 worth handles a family for months. And here's the trick most people miss. Start mixing half powdered, half fresh in your normal cooking now. So when the day comes that powdered is all there is, your family doesn't refuse to drink it and look at you like you poisoned them. Now let's talk about the errors almost everyone makes, because the food is only half of it. Mistake 1. They buy it and never open it. You need to eat a meal from your stockpile once a month, minimum, or you will not know what works and what doesn't until it's too late to learn. Mistake 2. They store everything in one place. One flood, one fire, one break-in, and the whole plan dies in an afternoon. Split it. Closet, basement, bedroom, under the bed. Mistake 3. They forget water. All the food in the world means nothing if you cannot cook it or digest it. 1 gallon per person per day, minimum, and you need at least 2 weeks. Mistake 4. They don't rotate. Ghee lasts forever. Bouillon cubes don't. Label everything with a marker and the date you bought it. $12 at any hardware store. No excuses. Mistake 5. They tell everyone. Your stockpile is not a conversation starter. It is not a flex. The fewer people who know, the fewer people show up at your door on day 3. Mistake 6. They plan for 30 days and call it done. Most real disruptions, weather, grid, supply chain, run longer than the news tells you. Plan for 90. If you never need it, you eat well for 3 months. That's not a loss. Mistake 7. They forget they're older than they used to be. Heavy buckets on a high shelf are not a plan. They're a broken hip. Store heavy things low. Your knees will thank you. Here is what you do this week, not next month. This week. 1. Drive to the nearest Asian grocery store and spend $20. Buy seaweed, soy sauce, 2 blocks of real noodles, and a bag of potato starch. That's it. 2. Buy a jar of ghee and put it on your kitchen counter. Use it. Get comfortable with it. 3. Order a bag of wheat berries and a hand-crank grain mill online. One-time purchase. 4. Pick up 100 bouillon cubes at the regular supermarket. Under $10? 5. Buy 1 bag of textured vegetable protein and 1 container of nutritional yeast. Try a recipe this weekend. Any recipe. 6. Mark every item with the purchase date. A permanent marker and 5 seconds per item. 7. Write down on actual paper where everything is stored. Because the day you need the list, your phone will be dead. This is not paranoia. This is what a responsible adult does when he has watched the lights go out more than once and noticed that nobody is coming to help fast enough. The big chains run on 3 days of inventory. 3 days. That is not a theory. That is the industry's own number. You are not hoarding. You are doing what your grandparents considered the bare minimum of being a grown-up. So, tell me in the comments, which of these 11 did you already have? And which one snuck past you completely until today? I read every reply. And if this was useful, the next video covers 3 pieces of gear that the entire prep world swears by, that are actually useless when the real thing hits. See you in the next one. Stay ready.